guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Cineclub. It's the beginning of a new month, and with that always comes Netflix recommendations. I thought it would be really cool if I could tell you about a few things I've been watching here on Netflix and that I've really liked, but I thought it would be even better if I could just theme each month with a type of movie. So this month I'm going to tell you about a few foreign movies that I've really enjoyed. So if you're about to go and have lunch and you just want to watch something on Netflix but you're just tired of the same kind of movies, these are ones that I think you're really going to enjoy. And it's always fun to see, a story told from a different culture, a different language, just a completely different perspective. So here you go. Now my first Netflix recommendation is this Australian movie that I've been meaning to see for quite a while. It's been recommended to me by many people and I'm glad I finally got to see it and tell you about it, and that is Rabbit Proof Fence. The movie is set in Australia in the 1930s where they had this program to protect the Aborigines, and one of the things that they were trying to do is take the half-caste children, which means they had a white parent and an Aboriginal parent, and they were taking them to this camp to slowly integrate them into society. So this is the true story of 3 Aboriginal girls who are taken to camp and they are trying to make their way back to their family. And the way that they can do it is by following the rabbit-proof fence that crosses the continent. It's a story about survival, it's a story about these children's instinct to come back to their family, to come back to their mothers. It's the battle against nature and the very harsh, hot desert. It's the battle against white men who are trying to find them and bring them back. It's very well done. It's interesting to see the story about racism and segregation in Australia. That it's something I don't think a lot of people were aware of, and it's something that's very relevant and very important to know. My next movie comes from France, and it's a movie that is actually very long, but I think it's completely worth it, and that is Blue is the Warmest Color. If you haven't heard of Blue is the Warmest Color, it's a story about this girl who is kind of exploring her sexuality and therefore falls in love with this other girl who has blue hair. It is a story about your first love, it is a story about the intensity of it, the magic of it, and how horrible it is when it can be taken away from you. Now the movie is very famous because there are some very graphic and very long romantic scenes between these 2 actresses, but it's not a movie that's just interesting about the exposure. The actresses are so good together, their chemistry, but it's not a good movie just because of what it exposes. It's a good movie because it shows you in a very detailed, chronological way how a romance starts, how you come out of that honeymoon phase and how things can dissolve really quickly. It's a really good movie. It leaves you with a kind of heartache feeling. It's sad, it's sweet, it's romantic. It's got a bit of everything. And it's a movie that I totally recommend watching on your own or with someone you are comfortable with when there are very explicit sex scenes on screen, because it gets wild, trust me. My next recommendation is the Brazilian movie called City of God. City of God is a little bit older. I think it's got a good 15 years on it. 2000, 2001? It's one of those years. And it tells you the story of these 2 kids that grow up in a very dangerous neighborhood in Brazil and how they take different paths in life, living in the same neighborhood, experiencing the same things. One of them becomes a photographer and one of them becomes a major drug dealer. The movie is harsh. It shows you a very strong reality that occurs in Brazil. It just shows you the poverty, it shows you the violence, it shows you how the cops just don't mess with what's going on over there. It's really interesting to watch. It's actually quite funny in a lot of places, which I wasn't expecting because it's a very dramatic, intense movie. There's a lot of sympathy with the characters as well, even the ones who you shouldn't be rooting for. You kind of understand where they come from and kind of what they do, the things that they do. And I have to say it has one of the best bad guys I've seen in quite a while. The main villain, he's just ruthless and cold and just fearsome. It's a really great movie. I highly recommend it. My 4th recommendation for this month is a movie called Water. Water is an Indian movie that shows you the reality of what happens to women when they lose their husbands. So when a woman's husband dies, she has to go live with these other widows at this house, and they are not allowed to go back into society. They don't integrate with other people. They shave their heads. They're not allowed to remarry. And that's kind of like an accepted thing that happens to women after they're no longer the wife of somebody. So in this story, this 9-year-old girl, I think she's 9 years old, gets married to this man, but the man gets sick right after they get married, like immediately after, and he passes away. So a very, very young child is forced to move in with these widows and live a life that she doesn't really understand. She wasn't even really aware that she was married. So suddenly her childhood is stripped away from her, and she has to do this because, you know, that's the custom and that's the way things go. And it's sort of the story of this very young girl who is a widow and now has to live in this house and get used to this new life of hers. I think that's one of the great things about these kinds of films, especially foreign films, that you learn so much about a different country and the way things are. Whether it's good or bad, you know, that's not the point. It's just showcasing something that you just were not aware of, and it just expands your knowledge. And I think Water does it a lot. It's impressive, it's shocking, and to see it through the eyes of a child just makes it all the more captivating. Now, my last foreign film recommendation for this month is a movie that it just makes my heart ache. It's so sweet, it's sad, it's funny as all get out, and that is Life is Beautiful. Life is Beautiful is an Italian movie, and it's really like strongly divided in two parts. The first part is how this man arrives into this town and he sort of creates his life. It's a very funny, light first act. He falls in love, he has a kid, you know, and sort of lets you get to know the character a lot more, which is that he considers everything to be very positive and very cheery. There's always something nice that can happen in life. It's a very important thing to know about this character because it plays very strongly in the second act, which is when the Nazis invade. So the Nazis take over, their whole lives are destroyed, and they take him and his son. And in order to save his son's childhood and keep his innocence, he makes it out to be like the whole invasion is a game. So when they're in the concentration camp, he just makes up all these funny rules for his kid to follow. So he doesn't get hurt and he doesn't realize what's really happening around him. If you don't cry in this movie at one point, you are heartless. It is just so sentimental. It is so funny in the way he tried to like twist everything for his kid that you just can't help feel the amazing love that a father can have for his child and the things that they do to save them from everything that's happening around them. So guys, that's it. Those are my 5 Netflix recommendations for this month. Tell me, what have you been watching on Netflix? I'm always looking for new things to watch. It's so much better to hear from you guys than to just go through the whole thing and trying to find something to watch. So if you have something that's really great, please leave it in the comment section down below, or you can tell me at Twitter at Cineclub channel, and the same in Facebook. Don't forget to give the video a big thumbs up or subscribe to the channel if you would like to see more of this, and I will see you next time. Bye!